Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn how to create Wave invoice for Shopify order. I want that whenever a new order is placed in my Shopify store, automatically I want to connect it with my Wave so that whenever a new order will be placed, automatically a Wave invoice should be generated for the same order. So how we are going to do this process automatically and effortlessly? For that we will have to integrate Shopify with Wave, and for that we are going to use Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. Now what we are going to do, we have Shopify in our trigger, Wave in our action. So we will be connecting both of them by using Pabbly Connect in such a way that whenever a new order will be placed on Shopify store, automatically the Wave is going to search for the user whether it is an existing customer or not, and if that particular person will be an existing customer of Wave, automatically an invoice is going to be generated for the same order of Shopify. And to learn this entire process step by step, let me take you all to my screen. So in this video, we are going to learn that how can we automatically generate a Wave invoice for the order which is purchased in Shopify store. Okay, so let's start learning this process step by step. First of all, in order to create the workflow, we have to come on our browser and then we have to search for pabbly.com/connect. When we do that, we will come on the landing page of this software with the help of this URL. So here we can find two options, sign in and sign up for free. So if you're a new user, you have to click on sign up for free button to create your free new account, and it will take only 2 minutes. Also at the time of account creation, you will get 100 free tasks to explore this amazing software. Now because I'm already an existing user, therefore I'm clicking on sign in. And here this is the all app section of Pabbly where we can find all the products which are offered by Pabbly. Now to create this workflow, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. So let's click on access now, and it will take us towards the dashboard of Pabbly Connect. So on this dashboard we can find all the workflows which we have created. Now to create this workflow, we have to click on this create workflow option. So let's click on it, and now a dialog box is appeared in front of us which is asking us to provide a name to this workflow. So I have given the name as create Wave invoice for Shopify orders. And now after giving the name to our workflow, we can also select the folder in which we want to save this workflow. So I have already selected it as home. Now after this, let's click on create, and as we do that, we can find that two windows are open in front of us. First is the trigger and the other is action. So what are trigger and actions? Trigger and actions are the basic concepts or the basic principles on which the entire workflow of this automation runs. Here we can have only one trigger in any workflow, but we can have multiple actions as we want. The trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. That means the action is the response towards our trigger. So whatever we are going to select in our trigger is going to command the entire workflow, and the action is going to follow the same command. Okay, so let's start creating this workflow. First of all, we have to select our trigger application, which is Shopify. So let's select it. And now in our trigger event, we will select new order. So the trigger event is the event on the happening of which the workflow is going to be triggered. Okay, so we want that as soon as a new order will be placed in Shopify, the workflow should get triggered with the order response. Okay, so let's select new order as our trigger event, and we can find that a webhook URL is provided to us along with some instructions which we have to follow in order to connect our Shopify store with Pabbly Connect. So what we are going to do, so first of all, we have to copy this webhook URL, and then I am going to tell you exactly what we are supposed to do. So first of all, let us go on Shopify account. So this is the dashboard of Shopify account, and now in order to connect our Shopify account with Pabbly Connect, we have to go on settings from the left side. After coming on settings, we can find the option of notification. So let's select it. And here after coming on notifications, we have to scroll down until we will find the option of webhook. So let's scroll down, and here this is webhooks. Now here we can find several webhooks are already created over here for different workflows. Now to create a new webhook, we have to click on this create webhook option, and here we have to enter the details of our webhook. So first of all, we have to select the event. Now what we are going to select in our trigger, we want that as soon as a new order will be placed in Shopify, the response should be captured in Pabbly Connect. So here our trigger event will be order creation. So this is the event on the happening of which the workflow is going to be triggered. The format should be JSON, and here in this URL field, we have to paste the webhook URL which we have copied from Pabbly Connect. Okay, done. Now webhook API version. So here we have to select the latest version. Let's click on save. So our webhook is ready. Now let's go back to Pabbly Connect, and here it is showing waiting for webhook response. That means now we have to do a test submission by placing a test order so that the response could be captured here. So let me take you to my Shopify store. So this is my Shopify store, and here are several products on the purchase of which we are going to receive the response. But before that, let me tell you one more thing. So I've connected my Shopify account with Wave also, and here under the product and service section we can find two products are given over here, LED bulb and LED tube light. So these two products are linked with my Shopify store, okay, LED bulb and LED tube light. So whenever these two products are going to be purchased in Shopify, then only I want that the invoice should be created in Wave, okay. Now what we are going to do, because I have connected my Shopify store with Wave, I also have the Shopify customer base synced with Wave. So what I want in this workflow, that whenever an existing Wave customer is going to purchase both these products in Shopify, then only the invoice should be generated in Wave, okay, otherwise not. So for that, first of all, we are going to purchase this particular product, let's say LED bulb. So let us click on buy it now. And now I'm going to enter the details of the customer here so that the payment could be made. So I am making a test purchase, so I'm going to enter dummy details. Let's say the dummy email, smart421@pabblytudes.com, just a random email. Now I'm going to enter the credit card details, a dummy card number, a dummy expiry date, random security code, and the name on the card will be Smart Customer. Let's enter the billing address, Smart, the last name will be Customer, address, random street, okay, apartment will be new apartment, let's say the city is Bhopal, state is MP. Let's enter the pin code and a random phone number. Okay, click on pay now. The order is placed. Now let's go back to Pabbly Connect, and here we can find that we have received the response. So here are all the details of the order along with the details of the customer for Shopify purchase, okay. Now we are going to use the same response in order to generate a new invoice in Wave. But before that, because we want to set a condition in this workflow that only for the existing customer of Wave this invoice should be generated. That means we want that this workflow should only get continued if and only the person who have made the Shopify purchase is already an existing customer of Wave. So in that case, what we are going to do, we are going to search the Shopify customer in Wave, okay. So let's select the action application as Wave, and now in our action event we will select get customer by email, okay. Click on connect. Now from the given options, I am going to select add new connection to build a fresh connection with Wave. If you already have an existing connection, you can also go with that. After clicking on add new connection, we have to click on connect with Wave. So let's do that. And here, because I was already logged into my Wave account, Pabbly Connect has already deducted it, and it is only asking for the permission to access our Wave account. So let's click on allow access. So you also have to keep in mind always to keep login to your Wave account before making up a connection with Pabbly Connect, as it makes the connection easier and simple. Now what we are going to do, we are going to search the customer who has recently made the purchase in Shopify in Wave. Okay, so how we are going to do that? For that, first of all, we have to select the business, so which is already selected as Pabbly. The next is the customer email. So we are going to search the customer through email, and we have received the email through our Shopify response. We are going to use the same response in order to map the details over here. So let's search email. So here, this is the email. We have selected it, and let's click on save and send test request. And here we have received the response. So we have received the customer ID. That means this particular customer does exist in Wave account. So now what I want, that only if the customer exist in Wave account, then the invoice should be created. And for that, we are going to click on this plus sign to add one more action step. And I am going to apply filter so that I can create one condition over here. Let's select filter. Filter is a feature by Pabbly which allows us to set conditions for our workflows. So what condition I want to set here? I want that only if this particular customer ID exists in Wave, then this workflow should continue, otherwise not. Okay, so I have used filter type as exist, and I have mapped the customer ID in the label. So you also have to do the same. Let's click on save and send test request, and our condition is true. The status is success. Why? Because this customer already exists in Wave. So because we have applied the filter, now only if the customer will be an existing customer in Wave, then this workflow is going to, otherwise it will get stopped. Okay, now let's move on and we are going to create an invoice in Wave for the Shopify purchase. But before that, in order to create the invoice in Wave, we will require two things: customer ID and product ID. So we have already received the customer ID through Wave, but in order to generate the product ID, we have to use one more action step here, that is lookup. Okay, so we are going to apply lookup here, which is going to generate product ID for us. Okay, so let us select the action application as lookup table. So lookup table is also a feature by Pabbly. Now let's select the action event as lookup table. Click on connect, and here our lookup table is connected with Pabbly Connect. Now we have to enter the lookup key. So what is going to be our lookup key? Our lookup key is going to be the product which is purchased in Shopify. Okay, so how we are going to get that? For that, let us add one more action step here, which is going to be Wave. Let's select Wave here, and now in our action event we will select create an invoice. Okay, click on connect, and I'm going to go with existing connection as we have already built a connection before. And now our Wave account is connected with Pabbly Connect. So here we have line item product ID, and if we will check the drop down, we can find the list of the products which are there in Wave. So here from these products we have two products in Shopify also, LED bulb and LED tube light. So on the purchase of these two products, we are going to generate the invoice in Wave. Now what we are going to do, we are going to generate the product ID of both these products by using lookup. Okay, so first of all, let us enter the name of the product in lookup key. So here I'm going to use the Shopify order, and I'm going to search for the item name. So this is the name of the item, so I have mapped it. So because I have mapped this data instead of entering it manually, now every time a new response will be captured in Pabbly Connect through Shopify purchase, the name of the item is going to be changed according to the new response. Okay, but if we will enter it manually, it will become static and it's not going to change then. Okay, so we want that whenever a new product will be purchased, the name of the item should be replaced according to that response. So therefore we have used mapping here. Okay, now the next is label. So we will simply type LED bulb here, and in front of that, in the value section, we are going to map the ID of that LED bulb. From where we are going to get that ID? For that, let's scroll down, and here under line item product ID, from the drop down we will select the name of the product. So here our recent product purchase is LED bulb, so we will select it, and then we will turn this mapping button on. As we will turn this mapping button on, we can find that the ID of this product is given over here. So let's just copy this ID and we will paste it here in the place of value. Done. Now because we have one more item in Wave, so let's click on plus sign. And now in this label, we are going to add the name of one more item. So let us turn this off, and from the drop down we can find that LED tube light is the another product which we have in Shopify also. So in the label we are going to enter LED tube light. Okay, the name of the product. And now in the value field we are going to add the ID of the product, that is LED tube light. Okay, so let's scroll down and then we will select LED tube light from the drop down, and then we will click on this mapping button. So here this is the ID for LED tube light. We will copy it and we will paste it over here, and we will paste it over here. Okay, now we can just delete this step because we do not require it for now. Let's delete this, and when we will use the action step of creating invoice, we will again add that. Okay, now let's click on save and send test request, and we have received the response. So we have received the ID of the product. Now by using the same ID, we are going to map the details in order to generate the invoice in Wave. So let's click on add action step, and now again we will select Wave in our action application. In our action event, we will select create an invoice. Click on connect, and now we will go with the existing connection only. Click on save, and here our Wave account is successfully connected with Pabbly Connect. So automatically the business is selected. Now the next we have to select is customer. So the customer name is already selected as smart customer, but if we are selecting this from the drop down, it is not going to change with every new response. Therefore we have to map the data over here. So what we are going to do, we are going to map the customer ID which we have received from Wave response earlier. Okay, this is the customer ID which we are going to map. So here we will scroll down, and in the place of customer name, we are going to turn this mapping button on, And then I am going to delete this existing response so that I could map the data by using the previous response of Wave. So we have received the customer ID through Wave. We are just going to map it. Okay, this is the ID and it is mapped. Now because we have mapped this customer ID, every time a new customer is going to purchase product in Shopify and the response is going to be captured in Pabbly Connect, automatically this field is going to be changed and new customer ID is going to be mapped here. Okay, therefore we use mapping. So when we have mapped the customer ID, let's move on, and now we have to map the line item product ID. So we have also received the line item product ID from Lookup Table. We are going to use that. So let's turn this mapping button on again. And then I'm going to delete the existing response so that I could map the data. Okay, now I'm going to use Lookup Table, and here this is the response and this is the product ID. So I have mapped it. And the next is that we have to give the description of the product. So let's check whether we have received any description for a product, but no, we do not receive any description. So I am going to simply map the name of the product in this field. Okay, so that it could change. The next is price. So let us map the price also. So let's search for the amount. This is the amount of the product. Quantity. So in the same manner, we are going to search for quantity. And this is the quantity purchased of the product. Currency, let's search. So this is the currency mode, INR. Okay, so I have mapped it. Now the next is invoice date. So here we have to map the date of the invoice in this manner. That is only the year, month and the date. But let's check whether we have received the date in the same format or not. No, we have not received the date in the required format from Shopify. So we are required to format this date. Now, in order to format this date, what we are supposed to do, we will click on this plus sign to add one more action step in between. And here we are going to use date time formatter. So date time formatter is also a feature by Pabbly which allows us to format the date according to the requirements of our workflow. So we will select the action application as format date only, as we only want the date. Let's click on connect. And now we are going to format our date. So first of all, we have to select the date which we have received, basically which we want to format. So this is the date which we need to format. So we have received this from Shopify response. So I have selected it and it is mapped. So in this from format, we have to select the format in which we have received the date. So basically we can find that we have received the date in this particular format, that is year, month, date and the time. So this is the format. Let's select it. And now in this to format, we have to enter the format in which we want the date. So in this workflow, we only want the format of date as year, month and date and not the time. So let's select it and let's click on save and send test request. And we can find that we have received the response along with the correct format of date. So now we are going to use the same response in order to map the date here in Wave. Okay, so let's move on and we will click on connect again so that we can refresh the connection with Wave, as we have added one more action step in between. Let's click on save. So again our Wave account is connected with Pabbly Connect. Now let's move on, and now we can find that again our name of the customer and product ID is changed. So we again have to map both the details. So first of all, I'm going to map the customer name. Simply turn this mapping button on and I will remove this existing data and we will map the customer ID here. Okay, the next is product ID. So we will select the product and turn this mapping button on, and I will delete the existing data and will map the data from Lookup Table. Okay, so this is the product ID. So we will move on, and I'm going to map the date here by using date time formatter by Pabbly. And here this is the date, so it is mapped. The next is invoice number. So some of the details are not mandatory over here, so I am ignoring them. You can definitely add them. Okay, the next is invoice title. So what you want to write in the title of the invoice. So here in the place of invoice title, let's say I am going to map the name of the customer. Okay, so I am going to use Shopify response and then I will map the name of the customer, or let's say the name of the product, LED bulb. Okay, done. Now the next we will move towards due date. So I am going to add the same date as today as due date. Okay, and I think this much detail is okay for creating a new invoice. So you can add more details according to your choice. Now let's click on save and send test request. So here we have received the response, and here this is the positive value along with the ID of the invoice. So because we have received this ID of the invoice, that means our invoice is successfully generated in Wave. So let's go and check on the invoice section in Wave, and here this is the invoice section. Let's refresh this page once, And now we are going to check whether a new invoice is generated for our smart customer or not. So let's search for the customer, and yes, we can find that the invoice is generated. Let's open it. And this is the invoice for the purchase LED bulb. Okay, so that means our workflow is perfectly successful and we have successfully set up an integration between Shopify and Wave. So this was the full workflow, and these are the simple steps which we have to follow in order to integrate all these applications. Now this was it in this video. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Not only these applications, but you can easily integrate many other applications by using Pabbly Connect. Now, if you have any doubt, you can easily email us at support@pabbly.com. If you want to ask any query, you can easily reach out to us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you are having any pricing related issue with Pabbly Connect, you can easily reach out to the website given over here. Now, if you find this video helpful in any way, do not forget to share it with your friends. And also, please like our videos and subscribe to our channel to learn more such automation.